Have you ever felt heavy? Not just physically, but emotionally? Like your days are overflowing with things, yet somehow feel painfully empty? Maybe it's the clutter on your shelves, or the dozens of tabs open in your mind, unfinished to-dos, silent worries, decisions you keep postponing. That quiet sense of suffocation. The feeling that no matter how hard you try, there's never enough space, never enough time. I want to share something with you today. A habit from Japan. It's not a miracle, it's not a quick fix, and it's definitely not trendy. It's ancient, simple, quiet. But in its quietness lies the power to shift your entire relationship with life. Because what if the solution isn't doing more, but removing what no longer serves you? What if true peace isn't found in adding more, but in returning to less? This Japanese habit isn't about renouncing joy. It's about rediscovering it. It's not about giving things up. It's about finally having space to breathe. So if you've been carrying too much for too long, stay with me. Let's begin this journey together. Let me introduce you to a quiet revolution from Japan. One that doesn't ask you to chase more, but to return to what matters. It's called danshari. 3 syllables, 1 philosophy. A way of living that can gently untangle the knots we've tied around ourselves, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. The word danshari is made up of 3 simple ideas. Dan, to refuse. Say no to what doesn't serve a clear purpose in your life. This might be unsolicited commitments, marketing noise, or things that quietly sneak into your space without intention. Sha, to discard. Let go of the things that no longer bring you joy, usefulness, or meaning. The sweater you never wear, the gadget gathering dust, even the opinions you've outgrown. Re, to separate, to release. And this is where the real magic begins. It's the emotional untethering, the freedom you feel when you realize that you are not your possessions. You are not your past clutter. Danshari is not just about tidying up your home. It's about clearing out the mental fog, the emotional buildup, the energetic weight you've been carrying. Think of it like this. You're not just cleaning a room, you're clearing a path back to yourself. It's not harsh. It's not about living with nothing. It's about choosing what truly belongs. And that small shift, choosing with intention, can create ripple effects you never imagined. Because when your outer world is full of noise, it's hard to hear your inner voice. But when you begin to strip away the excess, what remains is clarity. So, let's go deeper. Let's explore how danshari can become more than a practice, how it can become a doorway to peace. Accumulation isn't just a habit, it's a symptom. We hold on to things, objects, commitments, even thoughts, not always because we need them, but because they comfort our fears. The fear of not having enough, the fear of letting go, the fear of losing control. But here's the quiet truth. Most of what we keep is not about the thing itself, but about what it represents. That box of old letters you haven't opened in years. Maybe it represents a part of your past you're afraid to close. That overstuffed closet? Perhaps it's not about style, but about the fear of scarcity, the illusion that more choices mean more security. Danshari helps us pause and look, not just at our shelves, but at our lives. It gently asks, what are you holding on to and why? It's not always easy to answer, but in asking you begin to see that clutter, whether physical or emotional, isn't just taking up space. It's taking up energy, mental bandwidth, emotional capacity, even your ability to breathe deeply and sleep well. When we clear a drawer, we feel lighter. When we cancel a draining commitment, we feel freer. When we release a grudge we've carried for years, we finally feel peace. That's the ripple effect of danshari. You start by letting go of a sweater, and somehow, you begin to untangle the deeper layers of tension within. In Japanese culture, the outer world is seen as a mirror of the inner world. So when our spaces are calm and intentional, something within us becomes calm and intentional too. This isn't just minimalism, it's emotional hygiene, a way to care for your spirit, one small decision at a time. And the beauty is, you don't have to change everything overnight. You just have to begin, with awareness and with kindness. Let's talk about something we often overlook, the connection between our space and our health. Have you ever walked into a room overflowing with clutter? Papers stacked, random things scattered, laundry waiting silently in the corner? and felt heavy? Not just visually overwhelmed, but mentally foggy, emotionally irritated, maybe even physically drained? That's not just a coincidence. Science has shown that clutter increases cortisol levels, your body's stress hormone, and stress, when left unmanaged, quietly chips away at your well-being. Now, think of the opposite. Imagine waking up in a space where everything feels intentional. Nothing screams for your attention. There's breathing room on your shelves, on your floor, and in your mind. That's what danshari creates. It's not just about throwing things away. It's about creating a calm, restorative environment where your nervous system can finally exhale. Here's what happens when your outer space begins to reflect peace. You sleep better. Your brain isn't busy scanning a chaotic room for unfinished business. You breathe easier, less dust, fewer irritants, and cleaner surfaces reduce allergies and respiratory stress. You live longer. Research links organized, harmonious environments to lower blood pressure, healthier habits, and increased life expectancy. But beyond the physical, there's something even more profound. You start to feel safe in your own home. It becomes a sanctuary, not a storage unit. A place that holds you rather than demands something from you. And as you pare down the excess, you also begin to reclaim time. Less time cleaning, searching, rearranging. More time for presence, for stillness, for things that truly matter. Danshari invites us to choose quality over quantity, not just in our possessions, but in how we live. Because sometimes the most powerful healing begins with a quiet room and a little less noise. Let's pause for a moment and ask something simple, but powerful. What if having less actually gives you more? That's the quiet wisdom of danshari. On the surface, it might seem like a minimalist practice, about reducing, clearing, letting go. But at its heart, it's about receiving. Because when you strip away what's unnecessary, you make room for what really matters. You gain something priceless. More peace, more clarity, more freedom. You begin to see the connection between your outer world and your inner world. Look around your space right now. Is it filled with things you love, or just things you've learned to ignore? Every drawer packed to the brim, every shelf slightly overfilled. They aren't just cluttering your home, they're echoing something deeper. When our surroundings feel chaotic, our minds often do too. And the reverse is also true. When you simplify your environment, something inside you begins to breathe again. Danshari invites us to examine more than our closets. It gently challenges us to look at the people we surround ourselves with, the commitments we say yes to without thinking, even the thoughts we allow to loop endlessly in our minds. Is this relationship bringing me energy or draining it? Is this responsibility truly mine to carry? Or did I accept it out of habit? It's a shift from autopilot living to intentional being, from accumulation to alignment. This isn't about being extreme. It's not about throwing away everything or living in an empty white room. It's about choosing mindfully what deserves a place in your life and having the courage to let go of what doesn't. Because sometimes the greatest gift we can give ourselves is the space to feel light again. There's a quiet ripple effect that happens when you begin to live with less. It starts at home, maybe with one drawer, one bag of donations, one mindful decision. But it doesn't end there. Danshari isn't just about creating peace within you. It's also about creating balance around you. In the world you're a part of, we live in a time of excess, fast fashion, overproduction, single-use everything. It's become normal to buy without thinking, to throw away without guilt. But every item we bring into our lives has a cost. Not just financial, but environmental, emotional, ethical. Have you ever paused to wonder where your things come from? Who made them? What resources were used to produce them? And what happens to them after you no longer need them? Danshari invites us to be more than just consumers. It asks us to become conscious participants in the cycle of life, to buy with intention, to choose things that last, to let go with care. And when we do, something beautiful happens. We reduce waste. We stop feeding a system that exploits people and the planet. We make space, not just in our homes, but in the world, for healing. It may sound small, one person, one home, but collective change always begins with individual choices. When you live with less, you consume with awareness. You send fewer things to landfills. You create less demand for things that harm the earth. And you inspire others, not by preaching, but by example. That's the deeper gift of danshari. It's not just personal, it's planetary. Living lightly isn't just good for your soul, it's also an act of kindness to the earth beneath your feet and to the generations yet to come. So, where do we begin? Not with a trash bag, not with a dramatic declutter your entire life in one weekend challenge. We begin with a quiet question. Wherever you are right now, your living room, your bedroom, even your workspace, take a moment, look around, and gently ask yourself, does this serve me? Does it bring me peace? Or just take up space? That's how danshari starts, not with pressure, but with presence. It's not about tossing everything out. It's about choosing, one item at a time, to make space for what matters. And this isn't just about physical objects. Danshari applies to every corner of your life, even the ones you can't touch. Take your digital world, for example. The hundreds of photos you never look at, the apps you haven't opened in months, the unread emails stacking up in the background of your mind. Digital clutter is real and just as draining. So maybe today you delete 5 photos that no longer mean anything, or uninstall one app you've outgrown. Small steps, real shifts. And here's something beautiful. You don't have to do this alone. Danshari can be a shared journey with your partner, your children, even your friends. Talk about it, practice it together, create a home, not just of order, but of shared intention. But remember, this is not a race. There's no medal for most minimal. Your pace is your own. Go slowly, go gently. The goal isn't perfection, it's peace. And just like any meaningful practice, danshari isn't a one-time fix, it's a rhythm, a soft return to awareness, a habit of checking in and asking, is this still serving me? If the answer is no, bless it, release it, and move forward lightly. One small choice at a time. That's how transformation begins. Letting go is often misunderstood. We think of it as losing something. But what if it's the opposite? What if every time you release what no longer serves you, you're not losing, you're creating space for new experiences, for deeper peace, for the version of yourself that's been waiting to emerge beneath the noise, the stuff, the endless more. Danshari teaches us that living lightly is not about deprivation. It's about freedom. It's about stepping off the treadmill of accumulation and saying, I choose something different. And that choice doesn't have to be big. It can begin with one drawer, one conversation, one quiet decision to say, I choose to live lightly. So, wherever you are in your life, overwhelmed, cluttered, longing for something softer, know this, you don't have to wait for the perfect moment. The first step can be taken today. And if this message stirred something in you, I invite you to share it. Leave a comment below. Write, I choose to live lightly, and let it be your quiet declaration. Because when you give yourself permission to release, you make room for the life you've truly been craving. And that is where the real beauty begins.